This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Hello. Welcome to a pretty short tutorial this time. It's just gonna be me showing you a single tool, but I'll do it with a little bit of a few extra steps. So just for those of you who are interested to see, the tool that actually makes the point follow the mouse. It's in, how is it called? It's called Mouse, but it's in a plugin that is called Parakeet. Parakeet plugin. So that's the one that you can download from Food for Rhino, and under utilities you will find that tool. So this is the one that I'm going to show. But as I said before, I want to do something a little bit more than just say, yo, that's the tool. So let's do a definition, a quick one, just to show one of the ways of how we can make it work. So I'm gonna create like a Kangaroo script with some sort of a tensile structure, and we will be playing around with the anchor points of the tensile structure by just moving our mouse. That's the point. So Kangaroo script, right? We need to start with a solver, as always. Our solver, as always, needs a button to be able to reset it and a toggle for on and off switch. Boolean toggle. Also, it will have multiple goals, so we will entwine them. If I were to be able to write, there we go, entwine. And it's going to have multiple outputs. That's going to come out as a data tree. As the data tree comes in, you can see this by the dashed line, it's going to come out as a data tree. So we explode the tree. Just like that. All right, so this is typical. We always do this Kangaroo setup, right? So the first input that I always use as our goal is going to be, we're going to be showing something. Show. That's our goal number one. This is freaking out, don't worry. It's freaking out because show doesn't have anything to show. So the goal is complaining, and thus the solver is complaining because the goal is complaining to the solver. Doesn't matter. Next up, since we are going to be, actually, let's move this a little bit to the right. And let's create a mesh. So let's create a mesh for our tensile structure, and I'll do something very simple. I'll just make a rectangle here in Rhino. I'll start from 0, and let's say my rectangle size is 10 by 10. 10 by 10. And I'll just copy this little patch a few times. Let's say, oops. You kind of need to copy from corner to corner, or else this is not going to work. So make sure that you're copying it in a clean fashion. So something like that. We can move this or copy this by 10 to one side, maybe this one as well. I know, let's do an H shape. Minus 10 here, minus 10 here, like an H shape. Something like this. So initially what we're doing is we're creating like a topological outline for our mesh. I will reference in all of these curves as curves. Right click, set multiple, there we go, they're referenced, and I will create a mesh from them. So to do this, since these curves are flat, they can be recognized as surfaces, and I can very easily just say mesh surface. Mesh surface, just like that. I'll give it like 10 by 10 divisions. 10 by 10 divisions, there we go. I can't see the divisions. If you can't see the divisions as well, you just go to display, preview mesh edges, and now you can. For every curve, it creates a separate mesh, so we do need to join them up. And I will use from Kangaroo, I forgot the name of it, but under Kangaroo 2, utilities, it's not under utilities, it's under mesh. There's gonna be something about combine. There we go, combine and clean. This component right here. So this one joins everything up, all of the meshes up, and it removes all of the duplicate points that are on the seams of the meshes, which is very convenient for us. All right, let's hide some things. I feel like this is, yeah, this is good. At this point, you can kind of just select all of the curves, hit F10 to get the control points, and you can kind of push and pull on the control points. Just don't move them up, but you can push and pull on them to make the outline shape a little bit more interesting, I guess. At least that's the initial idea for this. So I'm just gonna do something real quick, like break up the proportion a bit. Something maybe like this. Perhaps this one can be a little bit thicker. Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. All right. So this is our mesh that we have created, and this is going to be the mesh that we are going to be showing, right, with our solver. So I'm just going to straight up connect my mesh to the show component, and yeah, that's basically it. Now, for this to be a tensile structure, I do need to relax the mesh to make the mesh contract a little bit, and also try to hold its form, right, under load. So I guess we can either start by the form holding thing, or we can start by implementing the load. Let's implement the load. That's going to be pretty easy. So under Kangaroo 2, under mesh, there's going to be vertex loads somewhere here. Somewhere here, definitely. We're going to see, okay, it's under goals mesh. Vertex loads, there we go. And also we're going to use edge lengths component right here. So these two, both of them require a mesh, so that's easy. Vertex loads asks us to give it some sort of a strength, so I'm just gonna give it like 0.1, something like that. Okay. So 0.1, something like that. And then for the length factor, I feel like if we don't plug anything in here, by default, it's gonna say that each little edge of the mesh needs to try and stay its length, the current length that it is. But if we give it like a factor of 0.9, it's gonna shrink by 10% to 90% of its size. So I'm feeling 0.9 is the way to go. Oops, wrong. There we go. And let's just connect it to, let's connect the vertex loads as well as the edge lengths to the entwine inputs. Also, I am zooming into entwine and pressing the plus button to give it more inputs, because I know that I will need to lock down this mesh. Right now, if I were to reset and press play, it just floats away, right? So we do need to lock it down somehow. To do that, I think we will just define a few points, right? A few corner points where it should be locked down. That should be the easiest way to do it. So I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna create multiple points here, 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 here. I'm just locking down these kind of corners, just like that. Can't really see the control point, so I'm gonna disable the preview of the solver so that it's easier for me to, or maybe I have, yeah, the shaded view gives me slightly larger control points, or not control points, point preview in general. So I'm just using that. I'm gonna reference them in as points, set multiple, there we go. And I'm gonna say that these are anchors, anchor. Bam. Disable preview. Run this. Hurrah. We have ourselves a tensile structure, right? And the strength, the vertex load strength is pretty damn high. So I'm gonna make it a little bit less, 0.01. Yeah, I feel like 0.01 is good enough. We don't really need the intense one. Just a second. All right, we're back. So 0.01 is good enough. The height of the structure is not that insane with it. Now, is it time? I feel like it's time for the fun part. And by fun part, I mean the mouse control. So I'm gonna say, well, first of all, we use mouse, right? That's the tool that we're gonna use, and there's a trigger, which is just a simple toggle, right? Toggle. I can turn this on, and now as I move my mouse on the screen, you can see that it's being followed by a point. Yay! All right. So we have that. What else do we want to do? For now, let's just see if it works or not. So if we have this point, that means we can find the closest point on this mesh. Let's reset this as well. We can find the closest point or multiple points on this mesh and say that those should be locked, right? Also as anchor points. So I'm going to do exactly that. And I think, how do we do this? Okay, let's get all of the points from the mesh, WBV, Weerbird's vertices component. You can also do deconstruct mesh. You can do this and get the vertices this way, but I'm just used to using WV Weerbird's vertices component. WVC. Wait. No, WBV. Muscle memory. Anyway, so we have this. Then I can say closest points. I can find closest points from my mouse point. This is, by the way, the point output, to the point cloud, which is this, right? And this will give me the closest points. No, it gives me closest point. No, I need points. Closest points. Well, plural. Again, point to search from, cloud, and now I have the number of points. And by default, it says 3, and that's fine. That's fine with me. So we're gonna say give me 3 points. Also, just to clean it up, I'll say remove duplicate points. There we go. And we can just connect them as an anchor to the anchor input right here. I will also, or actually let's, just to keep things clean, let's create another anchor component like that and connect it to 0.4 output here. Reset, run. This just works right now, except for that for some reason. But now as I toggle the mouse on, mouse tracking on, you can see that I can play around with the fabric, and wherever I am holding the mouse, control points are created, or not control, anchor points are created, right? So this is now, this has become interactive. Yay. Okay, so that's the cool part. Let's make it a little bit more cooler, a little bit cooler. So I have this mouse that's being tracked. What if I say every time I hit the backspace button, the point is recorded? Let's do that. So I could just say record data recorder. I could just say record the data, and then now it's recording the positions of the points, right? And all of them are being stored here. I can close this, right, and keep, or not close this, reset this and record them again, and so on, right? So data recorder by default, well, that's what it does. It records points, or it records data. That is not good enough because, as you probably noticed, it gets messy real fast with this. So I need to somehow filter it out, and I need the point to be recorded only when I hit the backspace button. So somehow I need to record the key to know if my backspace button is pressed or not. And that is there is a node for that, or a component for that, that is called isKeyPressed, and that is located in Firefly plugin. Firefly plugin has it isKeyPressed component, and basically it asks what kind of key do you want to test for, and I'll just say I think it should work, right? Backspace key, like that. Let's just see. Right now it says false, and what happens if I press the backspace button? It's still false. That's great. Why are you false? Let's hover over it and see. Test whether or not specified key has been pressed on the keyboard. Note this component requires the use of the timer component. Okay, great. So we need the timer component. There is no timer component in the newest versions of Grasshopper, but there is a trigger component. There's weird noises. Oh no, never mind, someone's drilling. There's a trigger component, and that is gonna work just fine. For the trigger component, I will right click on it and change the interval to 1 millisecond. Commit changes, 1 millisecond. And I'll just plug it or drag out of it like so and connect it to isKeyPressed. So what about now? If I press the backspace button, now it changes to true, from false to true. Great. How do we use this? We use this with either a gate or a filter. I never remember. Let's try gate. Stream gate. No, it was filter. Stream filter. With a stream filter component, and I can use this output as my gate input. So now you can see that the output right now is whatever is gonna come in to 0, input 0. If I press the backspace button, now the output is whatever comes in to gate 1 or input 1, right? So backspace changes the output from 0 to 1. Okay, so what happens if we just connect our mouse position to stream 1? And let's just check it with the panel. When nothing is pressed, this is empty, right? When I press it, when I press the backspace button, this has a mouse position, right? And if I move the mouse, you can see that the mouse position changes. If I don't press the button, doesn't matter if the mouse position changes, the stream filter doesn't let the information through. Okay, so that's a way of how we can say when we want to record the position, right? Now backspace key does that. How do we use this? Well, we can just connect it to data recorder like so. And now I can, I'm just moving my mouse here, and I press the backspace key, let's say here, and now the key is, the point is, has been placed here. Backspace key again, 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 right? So now I can record where my points are. I will click the destroy data X button here to get rid of everything. And basically we have the recording. I don't just want the recording though. I want, let's use merge. I want the current mouse position as well as all recorded mouse positions to be in the same list. Just for good measure, let's flatten this. So now I will be able to see my current mouse position, and I will be able to lock it in with the backspace button. Let's use this merge output as our closest points input here, just like that. Let us, I kind of want to preview the merge component because that's the one that is gonna show us where the points are placed. But let's disable preview of everything else, and now let's make everything pretty. So for the explode tree, it's orange because we have 5 inputs here and only 2 outputs here. So I'm just gonna press the plus button until I get 5 outputs. And I know that the first one is the one that we want because that's the mesh. So I'll just grab a custom preview for it. Just like that. Disable preview here. And I think, well, also we can hide everything in Rhino. I think that's it. I think we can just reset, run this. It's doing its thing. And if I move my mouse over it, you can see the fabric reacts nicely. And then if I have like a nice, let's say, I kind of want to nail it here, right? So I just press the backspace button. It gets recorded. And now I can find a new placement for another anchor. Let's say here, backspace. And here, backspace. What about here? Backspace. Right? Once I'm done, I just toggle false. And this is my structure. I mean, how cool is that? Right? Let's amp up the resolution. So instead of 10, let's double this. Let's do maximum 20. And let's ramp up amount of polygons drastically. This is freaking out because suddenly the simulation gets more points than what it's used to. So let's reset. And now it recalculates with much more points. So what if I don't want these particular points anymore? What if I want new ones? Well, I can do that by just clicking the X button for the data recorder right here. So it gets rid of all of the control points. And then I can just find, perhaps here, I can find backspace, new positions. Maybe this. I think I forgot to click the backspace button, sorry. Backspace here, there we go. Maybe here. You can do this one. Let's do a few here. Backspace, backspace, backspace. And one more. Okay, that is good enough. And since I'm done, I will just toggle this to false. Let's let it relax first. Now I toggle this to false. And we take a gander. Our little tent structure, huh? I will just to show you the next steps, I will quickly bake out this mesh. Just like that. And perhaps give it like a double border, multi-pipe. I wonder if one is too much. Yeah, one is definitely too much. Multi-pipe 0.1. Something like that. Arctic view. There we go. Our little tent structure. So this is the one that I'm not sure if I'm going to upload it for. Oh, this is folding over. Doesn't matter. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload it to my for my Patreon supporters because it's so easy and so simple. I probably will, but no, I won't. So if you are a Patreon supporter and you do need this script, just write me a message. I will send it to you. But it's a pretty simple one. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Subscribe if you did. Leave a like. And I'll see you in the next one. Later.